To you, my name is Daniel Wahome, and welcome to Sports Check on this Monday morning on KBC Channel 1. Well, it is a Monday where several announcements are going to be made. One going on right now, where the Cabinet Secretary for Youth Affairs, Sports and the Arts, the Honorable Ababu Namwamba, is making the announcement about the WRC Safari Rally Organizing Committee and Steering Committee. Our reporter is Dan Wendo, and we're going to play that back later in this edition of Sports Check. And also happening today, we've got the supplementary budget estimates report. This is taking place in Nairobi. Then we've got the 17th Regional Nile Day. It's happening also in Nairobi. And the Food and Agricultural Organization is going to be having a press conference together with the Ministry of Agriculture. And also in Kisumu, the Cabinet Secretary for ICT and the Digital Economy, Alido Walo, is going to be in conversation with Simon Achola, so we're looking out for that one too. So those are some of the stories that we're going to be looking out for today. But in our sports conversations today, the second part of the interview, by the way, we're going to be talking about American football. Last week there was some great stuff coming the way of Kenyans, because Kenyans were mentioned in the halftime show of the Super Bowl. That is the most lucrative commercially, I would have to say, for any broadcaster when it comes to sports event. It's extremely lucrative, the Super Bowl. So we're going to be having a conversation about American football with the CEO of the Kenya Federation of American Football, Chizi Ambala, and the Vice President of the Federation, Moses Ondeng. But you all know what happened on Saturday. Kenya, top of the world in the land down under. So that's a conversation that we're going to get straight into. Remember, you can catch us on our Twitter handle. It's at KBC Channel 1. Mine is at Mr. Wahome. The hashtag is Sports Check. Our sign language interpreter within this hour is Lucy Mwawara. Now, Saturday, Kenya got on top of the world at the World Cross Country Championships in Bathurst, Australia, at Mount Panorama. That's where they've got a racetrack that draws a lot of people, and it was a show of speed. Well, we got to hear words we haven't had in a long time. Who would have thought of a mud pit being referred to as a billabong? Makes you think of the song Waltzing Matilda. So that was the story. 6 gold, 2 silver, and 2 bronze for Team Kenya. Actually, by the time the senior women were done, it was story closed. Kenya was on top of the world. And let's review that. And in studio with us is our athletics bandit, athletics coach, Stephen Waniki. Coach, welcome.
Thank you.
First of all, before we start going through the races one by one, your overall take of the World Cross Country Championships, how you saw that course with the hay. There was a mud pit, it was hilly, and then there were the chicanes where they put the tires. They had to remind us it's a motor speedway somehow. Yeah,
it was quite challenging, and also the last moments we also had storm, which was coming also to affect the senior men. And this was quite challenging, but kudos to our athletes, because they really did very well, and we were able to be at the top of the world.
Yeah, sure enough. And after 4 years of waiting, quite some dramatic thing. And it all started at 7:55 a.m. That's when the first medal checked in, and this was a gold in the mixed relay. And let us give you back those moments that you got to watch in the mixed relay. 2 men, 2 women.
So, as we go through, it was a bit of an unsteady start, the first one of the day. Flying up the hill, the Australians with Ollie Hall probably getting the best of the starts when they turned left, but it was the South Africans that really turned the race on the head.
They did, and I think it was interesting the tactics that they went through, going fast runner early to get that, a little bit of a lead and try and set up those medal positions was important. I think that Wanyoni really helped set this race up for the Kenyans to enable them to get that distance, that break from Ethiopia that they needed, and it was just too big a gap for them to peg back.
Well, that's right. That's where Mfale really took the gap at Segediso and Chirop. It was just that changeover zone where Chirop just snuck up the inside, but it was a great run from Jess Hull as well to get them up into second place. Abera just couldn't do enough. But this was the spot here. You can see Hull absolutely flying up. We actually heard some advice for Hull. It was go hard up the hills and hard down.
Yep.
And it paid off. You can see only a little bit later in the course, really getting away from the South Africans. And the Ethiopians, you can see just how strong they were in the next two legs.
Yeah, you can see that technique is really important on this course. You know, you think of cross-country running, you just think of being aerobic and fit, but the technique really comes into it on this course because you have to learn how to run up those hills and drive those arms like a sprinter almost coming out of the blocks, just to be able to take some of the pressure off the legs.
And this leg from Munguti was so strong. He looked like he went out maybe a little too hard, but
yeah,
he just kept going. He pulled away from McSwain, getting at Wale, having a great battle at the back with Chite from South Africa. But you knew the strength of the last leg from the Kenyans and the Ethiopians. There's Brenda Chebet, silver at the World Under-20 Champs. And Hallam, gold in that same event. It was going to be a tough ask from Caldwell from Australia to get any higher than that bronze medal. You can just see how fatigued they are coming after that super tight hairpin. And Brenda Chebet does it for the Kenyans. Fist pump in the air. Look at the crowd. A fantastic look here in Bathurst. Hallam holds on to that second place for the Ethiopians, and Caldwell takes home the first medal for the home nation. You see just how much it took out. The others have got the big smiles.
It's of the mixed relay. Emmanuel Wanyonyi, Miriam Cherop, Chumbe Mungoti and Brenda Chebet. 23 minutes, 14 seconds. And coach, just break it down for us. The first two legs we've seen Wanyonyi, from most of what we've seen in the mixed relays, you'd rather pick the steeplechasers and people to do the 1500. But here you've got 800-meter runners, you've got 1500-meter runners. And, at what point did we see this taken proper?
What we saw, Wanyonyi is a 800-meter runner, and as we have said, in this combination we require 1500 and 3000 meters. But you remember very well, Wanyonyi won the trials here in at Ruiru.
Yes.
And the selectors had to put him in the team. But what he did was exceptionally well, because for him being an 800-meter runner, it means that he can also handle 1500 meters. And that was the only side that we could see that he could not resist the mounting pressure from the opponents, from the South Africans. But
actually, yes, Mpalele actually shocked everyone. No one had thought about South Africa. We were thinking of Kenya, Ethiopia, I think, and Australia.
Yeah, but as we continued to build up the event, Munguti killed it all. Munguti did it well, and from Munguti, Brenda Chebet, we finished it that way, and that was a very good build-up for us. Actually,
let's talk about Munguti's leg, because he was running against at that point Gednet Wale, and the Australians, Jessica Hall, had given it to Stuart McSwain. So he really had a lot of work to do. How did he get that right? Because it makes you think of Charles Simoto in 2017, Kampala.
Yeah, the moment Munguti was handed over the baton, he did not waste any time. He had to fight to make sure that he reduces the gap. And you could see Stuart McSwain was also one of the strong contenders in that event, but he didn't give him time, and he had to put pressure. And as I had told you earlier, for Kenyans to win, you have to put pressure from the word go, and that is how we were able to get that good gap, and for Brenda Chebet now to finish it all. That was how it was built.
Now, here's a technical thing that people need to, would like to put into context. It's about handing over that wristband.
Yeah.
Because we saw it there, people are used to where you have a baton and you hand it over. But this is a wristband with a timer. How important is it about that changeover?
Yeah, it's very important. The most important thing with the changeover is how you receive the whatever, whether it's the baton or the wristband that you are receiving. That was very important. And the exchange was okay, because it seems the coach had to put some work on it, and there was no lapses on that one. And we did it very well, especially knowing that most of these athletes are not sprinters, they are middle and long distance runners. So it was done perfectly well.
Well, Coach Moniki with the mixed relay, and that was the first medal for Kenya. The second event was the under-20 women's race, and this is one that, how would I put it this? When it comes to this, the Ethiopians had it. Senayet Getachew winning it in 20 minutes 53 seconds. Medina Issa 21 minutes flat, taking the silver, and bronze going to Faith Cherotich. And Ethiopia also won the team gold. And let us get the highlights of the under-20 women's race.
Sprint finish. And our first chance to see a big pack go around Mount Panorama. It did cause a few dramas as they got through a couple of the obstacles, especially the Billabong. And they make their way left up this steep start. We saw a pack form early.
They certainly made their plan evident quite early. The Ethiopians and the Kenyans were going to take it to the lead.
You see Shay, who was top 10. Taking a spill. So, fantastic effort for her to get up and still continue on. Sometimes that can cause a little too much drama. You might kick too much to try and catch up.
Yep.
But she just bided her time.
Well, she recovered really well.
Yeah.
She was the athlete that was looking forward to coming out here so much. She's obviously a very positive person, and she just hit the deck and bounced back up and then recovered beautifully. And here's some of these tight turns where when you're in a big pack and you're going at pace down the hill and you have to try and take that inside running, it does get a little bit rough. Kenyans push the pace early to try and, I think, put a little bit of pressure on the Ethiopians so that they take a little bit of sting out of the legs of the athletes in that finishing kick, but they certainly couldn't do that with Getachew.
No, and Getachew just really working hard. She looked like the strongest runner. You could tell if you could pick anyone there who wanted it the most, it was Getachew. She wanted it. Every single stride, every move, she was ready to go.
Yeah, even when the pain was etched across her face, you could see that she just kept refocusing on every step, looking around to see if they'd dropped the Kenyans yet, but Asa and Getachew, they still had the Kenyans on their tail. Now this is that final turn. But Cherotich just lost touch. She was fatiguing as she was running down that hill. She managed to get back on them.
And this is where the big move came from Getachew. You can see the head, the arms firing up. And she is absolutely flying down that hill. Takes line honours. Asa took the second place and Kosgei the bronze. Ethiopia should take out the team medal.
Of this under-20 women's race, 3 laps around the track at Mount Panorama in Bathurst, Australia. Senayet Getachew of Ethiopia winning that. Medina Issa of Ethiopia taking the silver, and Pamela Kosgei. Pamela Kosgei is a younger sister to world record holder in the women's marathon, Bridget Kosgei. Coach, first of all, that hairpin turn where Faith Cherotich, almost slipped and had to hold on to Issa and Getachew. What's the best way to take that kind of turn?
Yeah, cross country, everything is thrown to you, and this was the best part of it, because that is where Cherotich lost the event, because she was among the top 3, but coming to that bend, she could not be able to negotiate those sharp corners, those sharp turns, and Kosgei was there to run with the Ethiopians, but of course it was for the Ethiopians to take the best 2 positions.
I mean, you mentioned that cross-country, everything is thrown at you. And you see, you come off the bend, then you go through the chicanes where they had the tire options. And there were 2 ways to go around the tires. Either jump over them or go around them.
Yeah.
I mean, after that turn, what's the natural way the human body responds to such a thing?
Yeah, you have to work it out in training also, because cross-country is, you test endurance, stamina, and everything, speed. All that is brought into play, and if you haven't worked on these kind of obstacles, then it becomes a challenge. You could see in Ruiru we had artificial hills.
Yes.
We had the water area, all these kind of challenges, and that is how cross country is supposed to be.
Now let's talk about the mud pit. We saw one of the athletes slip, but for the Kenyans, it was more what I would call the steeplechase style. Look for the easiest point and just make sure you just touch the mud, maybe once, twice. What's the best way to navigate a mud pit? They were calling it the Billabong.
Yeah, the best way is just to look at the part which is much easier for the athletes to be able to put their strides and go over it so easily. Because you could see, for us, we were able to match that part of that section, and it wasn't very hard for us. But for the rest, it depends with the coaches how they prepare their people.
Well, there you've had it. And at that point, Kenya was second on the table with 2 gold, 2 silver, and 2 bronze. Ethiopia were top with 3. But it is after that race that everything changed. We'll be coming back with the under 20 men's highlight and also the reaction of Ishmael Kipkurui, who won the gold medal in that event. But right now, let's move over to the Boulevard Hotel, where Trade Cabinet Secretary Moses Kuria is presiding over the launch of Chauffeur, a zero-commission ride-hailing app. Let's listen into Cabinet Secretary, the Honorable Moses Kuria.
And they can also be attractive to banks, because banks like somebody with a payslip. So I hope that these drivers now will not only have their real income, but for the first time now, our taxi drivers will also be able to get a monthly salary. That is my challenge to you, and I think this is very exciting. On behalf of the government of Kenya, I want to pledge that we are going to give maximum support, not only to Chauffeur, but to all other creators and innovators of fintechs, of technology. And I want to say that we are now operationalizing the Konza Techno City. Within the next few months, a lot of companies will have moved in there. I want to allow those international companies like Google, like Amazon, that are taking steps to come here, establish their resource pools here, establish their centers of excellence, the Meta Group as well. So I want to say that the government of Kenya is fully supportive of these companies, and we want to be the leading center for tech and fintech development in Africa. Let me finish by one very important issue. We have received complaints from companies that I talk to that want to invest in this country in area of tech, to build data centers, to build their operation bases here, and there is particular regulations and laws surrounding data residence and ownership. So on the issue of data residence, I am pursuing this from East African Community, from COMESA, from Africa Continental Free Trade Area, that we have data residency rules that are supportive of where the world is going. Now the world is virtual. We literally live in the crowd. You cannot say that this data is for this country and that country. So if we have to make progress on the area of digital trade, we have to be more liberal, more flexible, and more innovative in the way we approach the issue of data residency. The other one is on the ownership. We have got this part in our statutes that requires international companies to have 30% local ownership if you are to set up some of the operations like data centers. Ladies and gentlemen, hiyo ni mambo ambayo imepitwa na wakati. That's where the world is coming from. Now you expect Kamau and Otieno company from River Road to say we are the local partners of Google. It will never happen. So if you are dreaming that Kamau and Otieno Limited from River Road is waiting to be the 30% owner of AWS, that will not happen. So all because AWS will not agree. We have the issue of SpaceX, the Elon Musk company, which has always wanted to come here, but because of this rule of 30%, sasa Mr. Simiyu wants to say, "Mimi ndio partner wa Elon Musk hapa Kenya, mnanijua?" No, that will not happen. So let's not lie to ourselves. So in this regard, I am going to be taking to the cabinet this amendment to remove this regulation, so that companies can come here and use this country to base their operation, especially for Africa and beyond. and so that we live with the times. So when I do this, I know SpaceX will be here. Now they have gone to Ghana. So we need to be bold, and we need to be realistic, and we need to do only that which we can be able to achieve. If any part of our laws is not making any sense, if any part of our laws is not implementable, as a minister in charge of investment, I have said that I have an objective to raise FDI, foreign direct investment, from $500 million currently to $10 billion by the end of this year. I need to achieve my KPIs. I need these companies here. If it needs changing the law, I will change the law. If it needs whatever needs to be done, because we need investment to create jobs, we cannot continue to play music to this issue of poverty and employment. Part of my $10 billion plan, part of it, a huge percentage, is on fintech. But the laws as they are not supporting my objective. And I am going to take my case to cabinet, I'm going to take my case to parliament, so that we can have an environment that's conducive, not only for local developers as Chauffeur, but also for international companies like Google, like Amazon, like Meta Group to come here, position their data centers here. I am going to do whatever it takes to be able to attract this investment. So to Chauffeur and all these people, and all the other local developers, yes, I want to support you, but I will not protect you. You need to be innovative. You need to be competitive. I know you have what it takes. If there's one area that Kenya has got an opportunity to be a global leader, it is on technology and fintech. This is our oil, this is our gold. We have done it with M-Pesa, we can do it again. And again, not just on software technology, but all other technology, engineering technology, electric mobility, and all other emerging technologies, allowing us to be more creative and more liberal. If my good friend John Njoroge Michuki could have been as conservative as some of us today, would we have M-Pesa today? No. So it behoves us now, the current generation, who have got this responsibility bestowed upon us that comes only once in a lifetime, once in history, not to be conservative, to look at things differently. Are we the only one who are going to be harmed by cryptocurrency? No. So let's be more liberal and more flexible about it. Let's not be, and I'm saying this because I want to talk to my fellow regulators, like Communication Authority of Kenya, like Central Bank. Fortune favors the bold, and with the spirit of John Michuki. If we could have been conservative, we could not have had M-Pesa. Let us dare to dream. Let us be innovative. Let us be flexible, and let us do those things that are going to move with the times, and know that we cannot compete with Saudi Arabia on oil, and I cannot compete with DRC on minerals, but I can be the market leader on technology and fintech and innovation and create jobs for our people, and not just here in Kenya. I want to work with fintech companies, and I'm happy the PS4 ICT is here. I want to work with fintech companies to go, and that is why I'm moving all over the world, opening markets. I have so many African countries which are telling us, you guys are heading technology.
So that is the Trade, Investments and Industry Cabinet Secretary, the Honorable Moses Kuria, speaking at the launch of Chauffeur, which is a ride-hailing app. And, he says he will work with those who are in fintech, and this is to ensure that there are opportunities for Kenyans. And also he's mentioned about the reduction in the requirement about the 30% in investment when it comes to this. So that's just part of, the story that Hibak is going to be preparing for us. Watch that in our business news. Well, welcome back to our conversation about Sports Check. Remember, Saturday was a great day for Kenya. Kenya was top of the world after giving a great show in the land down under. We're talking about Bath, Australia, and the 44th World Cross Country Championships. Top of the table, 6 gold, 2 silver, 2 bronze. We are in studio with Coach Stephen Mwaniki. He is a part of the coaching staff, the senior coaching staff at Athletics Kenya. He's been coach of Team Africa in 2018 and Team Kenya when it comes to the sprints and the relays. So he's part of that setup, and he knows all. He's seen it all throughout the season. We've done the mixed relays, the women's under 20, and now we move move on to the men's under-20 race. Kenya won gold. Ishmael Kipkurui, 24 minutes, 29 seconds after 4 laps on that track. Reynold Kipkorir Cheruiyot taking it 24 minutes, 30 seconds. And Ethiopia's Boki Diriba taking bronze, 24 minutes, 31 seconds. One of the closest finishes, I have to admit, we saw at this World Cross. Before we even move to the drama that is the senior women's. But here is the story. Kenya won the team gold by a single point. 22 points for Kenya, 23 for Ethiopia. We'll be coming into that point scoring. But first, the highlights of this race.
We saw them talking earlier, the two Kenyans. When we get to the top, make sure we're at the front. Really go a hard left.
Whatever they said, it worked. Anyway, they ended up doing the business.
But the two Japanese... Get out of that pack. Get out of these issues. This is the first time we saw the second vineyard get used here as well. Yoshioka leading the way, but just this first downhill swamped by the African contingent.
So many making that hairpin bend and having to negotiate the chicane. And quality race, having so many people present for that first couple of laps. We knew it was going to break up, but I didn't realise it'd be so much depth there early.
No, and even when we thought we lost some, it came back again. I thought we had a group of 4, then it went back to 7, then it was 10.
And that's unusual, because it's such a tough course. Once you're off, that leash is broken. It's difficult to get back.
But this massive sprint finish here, through the chicanes to that final time. And Chariot, you thought he was gone there, but he just snuck up, and I think that might have been enough. He gets the individual silver, but I think he may have just done enough to get that gold team medal.
So, Coach, those are the highlights of the men's under-20 race. Ishmael Kipkurui winning in 24 minutes, 29 seconds. Reynold Cheruiyot with the silver, 24:30. And Boki Diriba, 24:31. Kenya taking the team gold. First, let's look at the individual medals first, Coach. And just how Cheruiyot just got it right, because his finish meant that Kenya got the team gold. Others would have been tied with Ethiopia on 23 points.
Yeah, of course, Ismail Kirui made this race because, you see, he ran the Kenyan style. He led from the start, and he could not allow anybody to dictate the pace. Ethiopians were trying, Ugandans were coming up. After the third lap, that is when, after the second lap, that is when he took over and decided nobody should come in front. And you could see the way he was negotiating those tires. He did it very well. So Ismail Kirui made it, and I'm sure if it was not him, then he could not have won this event. And also Cheruiyot. Cheruiyot also came back and fought hard to get the second position. And that is how we were able to get the team title and also the individual medals.
Now, let's take a look at this. Imagine you're tied on 23 points. Because this is how it works in cross-country, is that if you finish in position 1, you get 1 point. You finish in position 10, then you've got 10 points. Your placing is actually your number of points. So when they count the team, when it comes to the team title, they look at where everyone was placed. So I'm just trying to imagine that switch, 2 and 3, would have made a whole difference. What, in that case, who would have gone with the team gold if there was a tie?
If there was a tie, to break the tie, it was very simple. You look at the team performance. For example, now we had Kipkurui leading, and maybe the Ethiopian came third. The Ethiopian was third. So the team...
I mean, a case where if Diriba finished second, then Cheruiyot third, because that last surge was everything.
Would have given the Kenyan team, yeah.
Well, very interesting how that went down. And here is the reaction of Ishmael Kipkurui, World Under-20 cross-country champion.
Okay, Ishmael, congratulations on that fantastic win, another win for Kenya, a really difficult course. Can you take us through your race?
Ilikuwaje hiyo mbio? Race ilikuwa mzuri, lakini ilikuwa na challenges mingi sana, milima, maji na hiyo matairi ilikuwa imewekwa.
He says that the race was good but very challenging, especially the watersheds and also the slopes and the hills. They were a bit challenging, and then the sharp corners. It was not easy to negotiate, but he managed to use his tactics. Yes.
And how did he feel about the heat, the temperature, because it's warm?
Ilikuwaje joto?
Joto ilikuwa juu sana, lakini kwa Kenya mahali tulikuwa tunatrain kwa jua, ilikuwa na challenge sana kwa jua.
He says the temperature was very high. However, because of the training ground where he has been training and as a Kenya team, he didn't have a lot of challenges with the heat. So to him it was okay, he could persevere more. That's all.
And was it always his plan to make his finishing burst at the top of the hill on the final time?
Pardon?
At the top of the hill, at the final time, he made his move to the lead. Was that always his plan?
No, anakuuliza pale mwisho ukimalizia kupinduka na kupanda mlima kabisa kwa speed. Ndio mpango wako ulikuwa umepanga utafanya ukimalizia game.
Nilikuwa nimepanga hivyo juu sikuwa nataka kupush race juu niliona Uganda ni wakali sana. Sasa nikakaa tu nika maintain ndio nikapanda hiyo milima. Nilikuwa na speed juu sikutumia nguvu mingi.
He says he tried to minimize on the energy use, especially on the downhills. But in the uphills, he was able to now exert his energies so that he can try to beat the Ugandans and the Ethiopians who are very strong. But he succeeded in his plan.
Okay, congratulations, Kenya, back on top in the under-20 men's. Well done.
Wow.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Stand.
World Under-20 champion Ishmael Kipkurui speaking after that race. And, you know, that's what we've always been asking for. Don't force English or anything, and thanks to the team physio, he was there doing the translation work. Coach?
Yeah, that was good because, and that is why we say, if we could have somebody speaking his dialect,
yes,
that guy who should have gone there, talk to him in his language, and then translate it into English, and that is normally happens with Ethiopians. So why not Kenyans?
Let's do that to Kienzi Kiswahili. But some things that have come up there, I mean, from that conversation. One is how to manage your energy when you're running downhill, and make sure that you exert proper when you go up the hills. That was the elevation was about what, 6, they could go up 60 meters without you noticing it, especially at the start. And then when it's thrown at you, the chicanes where there were the tires, because he's admitted, and the mud pit. Because apparently no cross-country runner loves mud anymore.
Yeah, so what normally happens is that everybody starts like with the gas is like a glass, the glass we have here. Everybody has a full glass, but you have to know how to utilize the energy, how you spend your energy. You make it, you economize until the last part of it, because if you use top gears, for example, if you are a driver and you are driving very fast on a long distance, you'll not be able to make it with the gas that you have. You have to minimize and make sure that you reach the destination safe and sound, and that is what we have seen with Kipkurui Ismail. He was able to utilize, minimize his energy expenditure, and then at the last part of it, he was able to leave everybody panting behind him, and that's how he won the 8-kilometer under 20.
Usimalize ugali kabla mboga.
Yeah.
Mboga pia muhimu. Yes, so that's the under 20, and at that point, Kenya just had moved slightly ahead of Ethiopia on that medal table. But then came what I would say the dramatic point. 2019 was quite dramatic when it comes to Beatrice Chebet. 3 athletes were given the same time in Aarhus, Denmark, at the under-20 race. But after the review, it turned out that Beatrice was right at the front. Then came the senior women's race. Letesenbet Gide, world record holder in the women's half marathon. Her time is 62:52. She was there right at the front, and like the Kenyans have a saying now from Junaid Mohammed, he meenda. But then Beatrice Chebet showed up, Gide out, disqualified. Let's just take a look at those highlights of the senior women's under-20 race.
It was upping her tempo. She's got her eyes on Gide's back and she's chasing hard, but Gide's now got that downhill momentum.
It's going to be hard to make up the gap here, but Gide, she takes another look over the shoulder. It has been some hard work for an athlete of this level. Letesenbet Gide. The crowd is up and about. Chebet is flying down the outside, though. Here comes Chebet as she's in front. Beatrice Chebet, Gide hits the deck, and Chebet is going to take the title in the finishing straight. Gebra Salama is going to cross the line. in second place. And Ngetic is going to take the bronze medal.
Wow. What scenes. The race is never over in a cross country until that final finish. Yes, she had it. She was home and hosed. G'day was home and hosed on that final turn. You could see at the back end of that last hill, her cadence really dropped and her knee lift was low. And you just thought, okay, you sensed that there was pain there, but you just thought she'd get down that final section okay. Chebet just upped the cadence and turnover and really drove to the finish. And wow, that was
unbelievable.
Unbelievable finish.
You could see the grimace on the face.
Well, that's the dramatic finish of the senior women's 10K race in Bathurst, Australia. Beatrice Chebet winning it in 33 minutes 48 seconds. Tigia Gebre-Salama taking silver. She's Ethiopian, 33 minutes 56 seconds. And Agnes Chebet Ngetic taking the bronze in 34 minutes flat. Grace Loibach Nawuna taking fourth place, 34-13. Kenya took that team gold. But coach, I mean, first of all, you would expect that, you know, the final stretch of most cross-country courses, they try to make it as flat as possible, but this one was undulating. I mean, at what point did Lettuce and Gide lose it?
Yeah, you know, the move she made, because the last lap she made a very strong move, and everybody was saying now it goes to the Ethiopians. And even Chebet admitted that she had settled for silver. But you see, never give up. It's never too late to mount a pressure and get the gold. And the final bit of it, she was able to pull herself up and run the last bit of it, and that's how we won the event. And this is important lesson to the athletes. You don't give up. It's not over until it's over. And that's how we were able to get the gold medal. So I think that surge, the surge she made, she knew that running with Chebet is not easy. They have been running together in several races. Even remember in the World Championship in Oregon, people said that Gidney was able to elbow our Chebet in the last bit of it. And this time round, Chebet was not going to let it go. And that's how we got the gold medal.
Actually, and let's just come to think of it. We saw Gide. She was always looking, I mean, she was always on her side mirrors. In that final stretch, we saw her look over her left shoulder, I don't know how many times. How do you keep focus on this?
Yeah, that is a good indicator that somebody has a problem. Somebody has a problem. You remember back in 2017, when Cheptegei was leading. Cheptegei was the last lap, he was leading, but he was constantly looking behind. And then one of the senior coaches from Athletics Kenya, I remember very well, I was in Kampala, told Kamoror, this guy is over. Can you please push? This guy is over. And that is how we won that is how Kamoror won the 10 kilometer in Kampala. So the same thing happened. When you see an athlete trying to look behind, it is an indication that there is a problem somewhere. And I think Chebet read the signs very well, and that's how we thank God, because we got the gold medal.
All right, now let's get the reaction of Beatrice Chebet, world champion at under 20 level 4 years ago in Aarhus, Denmark, and now she has kept the world title in Kenya. Helen Obiri won it in 2019, and now she's won it. So that title stays here for another 2 years. Beatrice Chebet.
Yeah, good to go. Beatrice, congratulations on being the world champion. What a dramatic finish.
Thank you so much. It was not easy. I didn't expect to win, but I thank God I managed to win.
Did you think that you were a chance coming down the straight? You were finishing so quickly.
Okay. When we were running, I saw that toward finishing, my friend from Ethiopia was a bit slow. Then I decided to have a kick. So it gave me some morale, and I ran good, and I won.
You've been the under-20 champion, and now you're the senior champion. How does that make you feel doing that for Kenya?
Okay, I'm happy today to win because I was not expecting, because it was challenging. More so being with the world record holder, it's something not easy. So I thank God because I win today for senior level. 2019 I won for junior, and today I won for senior. So I see my progression is good, and I'm happy because one of my colleagues, Helen Obiri, is my mentor, used to encourage me, advise me, and that's now she won last and today I won. So I'm so happy, and I thank Kenyans for their great support, prayers and everything. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
That's world champion in the cross country at junior level in 2019, and now in 2023 at senior level. Coach, you know, she's said Helen Obiri has mentored me, and the conditions were tough. Second time we've had it.
Yeah, you know, Chebet, she's one of the very organized and strong athlete, because I was privileged to be with the team which went to Oregon, and the way she was training very hard. So even beating Chebet is not easy, because she normally trains hard, she works hard, and she stays focused. And this time round, you remember during the selection she could not finish the event because she had a problem. But also you should not forget Grace
Nawawuna
Toibach. She did very well. She did her work very well. She was among the pacemakers, trying to wear down the Ethiopians. And this finally paid the price, because, okay, she didn't finish among the top three.
She finished fourth.
She finished fourth, but she did a very good work for us. And that's how we were able to get the gold and the bronze medal from Agnes.
All right, then the final event of the day was the senior men's 10K race, and we had three-time world champion Jeffrey Kamworor. There we had the defending champion Joshua Cheptegei in that race, and let me simply say, we also had Kibiwot Kandie. Remember, Kamworor and Kandie have all held the world record in the half marathon. Kibiwot Kandie is the one who upset Kamworor first. We had Daniel Simiyu Ebenyo inside there, Kimaru Sawe, and there was the wild card, Rodrigue Quizera, who topped the World Athletics cross-country series. Between November and February. Let's get the highlights of this race first. And Coach could tell us then, just where did it not happen for Kenya?
10,000. 122 athletes towed the line here in the men's senior cross country. Quebec first into the billabong and nearly took a spill.
Yeah, it was pretty ugly through there the first time. They sorted it out. They got better, I think. They needed a bit of practice.
They did. We saw Cheptegei take really wide turns, because what we said, you need to be running straight before you hit the mud. If you're trying to still turn around the corner on the mud,
it's going to bring you undone. You're
going to spill. But Cheptegei, we thought when he got to the front here that he was going to take control of it. Kamworor followed him out. But the big surprise is Aragawe. He minded his own business the whole race and really made that move at the end. And Kiblimo, once they got through that turn at the top, he made a massive move in that last lap.
Yeah, and that was a winning break, and I'm so delighted that we saw that the course used to the advantage. Kiplimo knew that was the tough part of the course, got away and was never going to be caught.
So many moves were made at the start of the boomerang turn out of the billabong.
Yeah, and that was a significant part of the course, and a winning break, and he could enjoy that race.
29 minutes 17 seconds, a winning time by Jacob Kiplimo. Berihu Aragawe of Ethiopia taking silver, 29 minutes 26 seconds. Joshua Cheptegei, 29:37. And there was that battle at the very, very end between Kamworor and Cheptegei. It may have been lost to many people, but Kamworor might have picked up another bronze. I mean, why not, for that close point? But just where did it not get right for us?
I could see Kibiwot Kandie was trying to push it, and also Ebenyo was also there. The team tactics was okay. But now, something that we did not know is that it's like Cheptegei was planning for his colleague to win this event.
And Rogers Kibet, by the way, the first lap, he basically took off, then faded.
Yeah. So the team tactics of the Ugandans was for Kiplimo to win this event. And that is why you saw the last lap, you could see Cheptegei coming in front, trying to push, but he was not pushing so hard, so that to make it, to bring it to the last part whereby Jacob Kiplimo would be able to take it so easily. And if you look at these corners, the athletes were negotiating, especially where we had these tires. It was much easier for Kiplimo because you see, the taller athletes, it's a problem for them. You could see Ebenyo missing that turn.
Yes.
Because he's tall, but Jabo Kiplimo is a bit short. So it was much easier for the Ugandans because if you look at the size of this athlete.
Kamoror is not a short guy either.
Yeah, so it was a bit tricky for us. And this is how Kiplimo was able to take it so easily. And the other thing also is that Kandie admitted that he had an injury. He did not want to show it, but he had an injury whereby if he wanted to accelerate, then the injury was coming up. So he decided not to push so that he finishes among the top 5. And what I can say is that we are coming up very well. If you look, we have new crops of athletes coming in. Having Ebenyo and having also Kandie, Christopher Kandie, it means we have a bright future. In the next 2 years, maybe we'll be able to mount that pressure and win the individual title. And also, you saw we did very well in the team title.
Actually, Kenya taking the team title, that made it 6 gold. But by the time the women were done, it was unassailable. But anyway, here's Jacob Kiplimo speaking after he won that race.
Okay, yeah, you're right to go.
Jacob, congratulations, world champion. That must sound nice.
Okay, thank you.
Take us through your thoughts on the race.
I think first of all I want to say thank you. Thanks to everyone that have cheered for us. I think to me it was actually, the course was real tough, but I've won the race.
Second last time, first this time. What was the difference for you between now? What was the difference between when you came second and now when you win?
I think first of all I was up at 2019 when I won a silver medal, because that time I was still a junior, but I'm happy for that I did today. I'm really happy.
And talk to us about the conditions, the wind and the rain and everything.
I think actually it was, the course, first of all it was good. Then the weather was good, because actually it was somehow raining. It was good.
You need to hang around more often if you think that weather's good. What does this win mean for you?
I think now it means a lot, because now it is my target since 2019 that I want to win a gold medal for the senior man. I'm happy now because I've achieved the mission. Yep.
That's the smile of a champion. Well done. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Done. That's it.
There he is. Jacob Kiplimo says, mission accomplished. But the cross-country coach he mentioned, it throws anything and everything at you. You start off in a parched surface, then the final event has a storm. How do you even prepare for that?
Yeah, for the senior men, it was really tricky and very challenging, because part of it, the last part of it, there was storm and there was a lot of things that was affecting their running. But this is cross-country, whereby you test strength, endurance, stamina, speed, everything. So if it depends with the preparation, and I think Coach Kiro and his colleagues did a wonderful job in near Mount Kenya. They trained at Embu, Kigari, our usual place. And I remember the old guru of cross country, Mike Oskei, was telling me that I asked him one day, why do you like training in Embu? He said, the Kikuyus believe that the god of the Kikuyu stays at Mount Kenya. So they also pray. Every morning they wake up, pray and ask God to guide them. And this is how things work.
Well, Mike Oskei, legend, that man. Coach John Gogi and Paul Tergat, legend, that man. Yeah. Well, great news also on Saturday. Russell Kaima beat Helen Obiri and Bernard Kibet-Kwech, winning those 2 races. Helen Obiri, 5th fastest all time. But the story is Bridget Kosgei, world record holder, finishing 4th at the rack half.
Yeah, you know, with 21 kilometer for long distance runners, especially the marathoners, this is like a sprint, and you could see that Helen is still, she has more energy, she has more speed, she has more power, and that is why she was able to run a 65 in the half marathon. For Bridget Koskei, I think this is part of our preparation, and I think come April, you'll see Bridget Koskei going back where she belongs, because she's very strong in running 42 kilometers.
All right.
So for her to run 66, that is a big achievement for Bridget Koskei.
Well, and then we also had the Barcelona half marathon. I think about 9 years ago, it used to be known as the Florence Kiplagat half marathon. She set world records there, but this time round, her course record of 65.09 was lowered by Irene Kimais, who clocked 64.36. She moves into the top 10 all time in the women's half marathon, and the men's race was won by Charles Langat, 58 minutes 51. Charles Langat had not run under 60 minutes before this, and in post-race he simply said, I have surprised myself. But the course record went. These two performances?
The two performances were splendid, because for Kamais to run 64 is not a walk in the park whereby you sleep and walk and run 64 in 21 kilometers. That is pretty fast, and I think Kamais, she's destined for a bright future come the races which are planned this year. And for this young man who won the half marathon in 58 minutes, being the first time,
yes,
maybe something played into his preparation, and also maybe his recovery. You know, sometimes if you don't recover from the training, then it's not easy for you to run. And maybe the preparation was good for him, and the recovery was good for him, and that's why he was able to run for the first time under 60 minutes.
All right. Now, finally, the last from the event, Jacqueline Chalal, 2:20:27 at the Sevilla Marathon. 2 hours 20. That's fast. And she slashed almost, I think, 8 minutes from her personal best.
Yeah, you know, apart from training, the science which is coming in, brought by the modern shoes that the athletes are using, has really made a difference for the athletes, because they recover quickly. It reduces the injuries, so it becomes much easier for the athletes to train for a longer period. And that was exceptionally good. Running 2:20 is not run by everybody. It's not an easy time for a newcomer into this world of marathon. That was pretty fast. Yeah.
All right. Now, that's the weekend that was, and the weekend is coming. Now, at the Nyayo National Stadium, please do show up, because there's going to be a show of speed 4 days from now, Friday, Saturday. Coach, speed show.
Yeah, for the weekend meeting, the second weekend meeting will be held at Nyayo Stadium. That was on Friday. And we are having Omanyala coming back, because this is the first time we'll be running on Kenyan soil after breaking the national record of 60 meters. And we think three times. And we think that now for him to run the first 100 meters, maybe we'll see the first under 10 seconds on Kenyan soil this year. So that is what will happen, and that is an action-packed event which will start on Friday and ends on Saturday.
Actually, last year, you had people had to present a threshold for entries in the 100 meters. Do we expect something crazy like that again?
Yeah, we expect, because last time we had 18 hits in 100 meters. And this time round, I think it will go overboard, maybe 20 hits. And that is what will happen. And also another action will be the Mount Kenya Run.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah, that's
the mountain run.
Yes.
Mountain run in Mount Kenya, which will be held on Sunday, 26. The event is geared towards creating awareness of cancer, and also the governor is also fighting cancer, and that is how things will be. But good things is that the event will be on 26, people going up the Mount Kenya, and it's a very good event.
Look out for that, the Mount Kenya Run, organized in conjunction with the county government of Meru. Governor Kawira Mwangaza is heavily involved in that. Coach, thank you very much. I'm sure Friday and Saturday will be explosive at the Nyayo National Stadium. If you want to see Ferdinand Omanyala in the flesh, be there. Thank you for your insights.
Thank you.
Well, right now, let's go out west. We go to Kisumu County, where our reporter Achola Simon is in conversation with the Cabinet Secretary for ICT and the Digital Economy, Mheshimiwa Eliud Owalo. Simon Achola, over to you, and when we get back, we shall be talking about the gridiron.
Well, thank you very much, Wahome. Indeed, we are in Kisumu, and we're coming to you live from Studio Mashinani Studios here within the precincts of KBC. And today we are privileged to have the ICT and Digital Economy CS Eliud Owalo, who will be, of course, shedding more light on why he's here, and more specifically, what the plans the government have in terms of expanding Studio Mashinani so that then the creative economy can actually benefit from this noble idea. Welcome, Waziri.
Thank you.
Give us an overview of what Studio Mashinani is.
Studio Mashinani as a concept is aimed at tapping into the untapped talent at the grassroots levels within the creative economy. We have quite a number of youth with a lot of potential in the areas like music, but who do not have access to finances for purposes of recording. So this is actually what gave birth to the Studio Mashinani concept, that why don't we go out where the talents are and see how, as government, through the Studio Mashinani concept, we can support the youth who have got the talent, but they don't have the wherewithal to record their music.
So far, so good, but there's still a large number out there that are yet to understand what exactly needs to be done in terms of accessing these facilities. How then do we reach out to these people so that then more and more of them can actually come out and access these services?
It calls for massive sensitization. You see, the registration process for purposes of recording is done through the Ajira portal. So we need to sensitize the youth on procedures. First of all, the concept itself, so that they understand the Studio Mashinani concept. And then two, the registration procedures. What process do they need to go through for them to be eligible for purposes of recording at our Studio Mashinani outlets?
Most of them have actually been coming here, and we get some of them coming as far as Pokot. In fact, today we just have one youth who is coming from Pokot. How then do we ensure that they don't travel such long distances in terms of expansion of these facilities to get?
As we speak, we have got 7 studio outlets within the counties. We want to have a minimum of 1 Studio Mashinani outlet in each county, so that you don't have the youth traveling to far and wide for purposes of recording. We want to devolve this as much as possible. For a start, we are targeting to have 1 studio in each and every county, but in the foreseeable future, we envisage a situation where we should be able to have 1 of the Studio Mashinanis in each and every sub-county.
Managing of art is a bit complicated, and a talented youth out there or any other person will be asking themselves, when I go to KBC or I go to Studio Mashinani to actually record my music with them, or even do film with them, how then do I get to benefit, and how does KBC benefit, or the government, or once I walk in, this is my product and I walk away with it?
You see, we are governed by the copyright laws. The right lies with the owner of the music itself. Ours is to facilitate the recording, and as KBC, we are doing it for free. Okay, so there's the government's intention to support the youth who have got talent, so that they exploit their full potential, but not to use the youth as a source of revenue in this regard. So as much as possible, we will try as much as possible to ensure that this is done, the production is done for free.
One major component that will actually facilitate access to information that regards Studio Mashinani and eventually exploitation of those talents is internet. And I understand that there's a grand project, the digital superhighway. How far are we, and what exactly is going on, and how quickly are we likely to start benefiting from it?
Well, the digital superhighway is a reality soon. We have already embarked on it. We envisage to roll out 100,000 kilometers of fiber optic cable. We have already mapped out all over the country where the cable is going to be laid out. We have already agreed at government levels with various players, stakeholders, as to what quantum the relevant entities are going to achieve or to roll out. Our target as government is to roll out 52% of or 52,000 kilometers for that matter, while 48,000 will be done by the private sector. We have, based on the mapping that we have done, that target of 100,000 kilometers is realistic and achievable. And I can state without fear of contradiction that we will be able to meet the target as advised. We will have internet everywhere, but also with specific regard to the youth, we are taking free internet to those areas where the youth are domiciled but are hitherto not enabled by way of internet. And what we are doing is that, apart from talking to the telecommunication companies to reduce the cost of data, which we are having at a different level, we are actually taking free internet to various parts of the country where the youth are domiciled, so that we don't have a situation of the youth having the talent, but they cannot get involved in digital entrepreneurship or digital jobs because of lack of internet. We envisage that we are going to roll out 25,000 free Wi-Fi hotspots all over the country. For a start, we have already rolled out 3 in Nairobi. We have done one at the City Market. We have done one at Mudhura Market. We have done another one at Kenyatta Market. We have done another free Wi-Fi hotspot in Nyeri. We have done Kapsabet, and we have done Kericho. We have done Ahero. We have done Bondo as well, just to mention but a few.
And these hotspots are not just for the youths to go sit there and chat, bet.
No. We want this to be utilized as a means of engaging gainfully within the digital space. There are a lot of digital jobs, but these digital jobs can only be gotten with internet in place, because you have to get into the internet to enable you be linked up with the digital jobs. Apart from the free Wi-Fi's, we are also setting up 1,450 digital hubs at the lowest administrative units within the ward. This is a space where the youth can get trained, get the requisite ICT skills, and then we reach out to tech companies so that we match them with the digital jobs within the digital space. We are also setting up digital laboratories within the TVET centers. For a start, we have already established and operationalized one at Kabete Polytechnic. As we speak, we have about 20 ready for launching, which from next week, but one, we will be, the whole of next month in March, we will be going on a launching spree of these digital hubs within the polytechnics.
The polytechnics.
Yes. Just for purposes of clarity, the opportunities available in that space is enormous. We had, for example, at Kabete, 2 youth who just did Form 4 last year. Based on the training that they have gotten, we have matched them up with digital jobs. One of them is earning about equivalent to 150,000, another one equivalent to about 200,000, and they actually get these earnings in the form of dollars. So the opportunities are enormous. Yeah,
opportunities are enormous, but also a warning to the youth, because most of them are now engaging in cybercrime, and of course,
that one, you see, there is nothing positive you can gain if you don't take risks. We are ready to take risks, because the only jobs that we have are within the digital space. We no longer have the white-collar jobs, okay? The jobs that are existent are the digital jobs. But while we are rolling out the ICT infrastructure that we have embarked on, we are also on the flip side of it simultaneously ensuring that everything we are doing will be within the confines of the Computer Misuse and Cybercrimes Act, so that that space is properly regulated. As we speak, we have set up a multi-agency team consisting of all relevant entities within government concerned with cyber security, to ensure that we don't have unnecessary exposure by way of crime or unnecessary exposure by virtue of the youth getting tempted to get involved in other vices which are unacceptable. So that is being managed. But we have to pursue this. We are going the full hog as far as digitalization of our space is concerned, so that we put in place. All we need to do is to put in place an elaborate risk mitigation framework to ensure that we are not exposed either from a security perspective or from the perspective where the youth can get involved in other vices which are not feasible.
Before we move to the plans that you have in terms of revamping KBC, because this has been a pet project for you and you've talked about it over and again, I just want to know, or the listener or viewer out there would want to know, is it just about audio that is recorded here, or the government also has plans in terms of ensuring that those who have short films, documentaries can actually access such facilities and actually realize their dreams of doing so?
We are going the full hog to ensure that everybody is given the opportunities that is required. KBC, the greatest challenge we have is one, dilapidated infrastructure or lack of infrastructure in certain places. We also have issues to do with the content. The content is not that we are producing is not aligned to the needs of the market. Today we are dealing with a youth that is tech savvy, a youth whose interests have really changed, but we still want to do business like we were doing before. We have to go the full hog and first of all determine what the market needs, and then we align our programs and contents to meet the expectations of the market. So re-engineering the content is imperative. We must re-engineer our content so that it is responsive to the needs of the market. The other issue that we need to address, of course, is staff motivation. We have got staff that is a bit demotivated, perhaps because of historical issues. We are going to undertake a job evaluation to ensure that we come up with salaries and benefits levels that are not just internally competitive, internally equitable, but also externally competitive, based on whatever is being paid in the market or the jobs can attract in the market. We have been having a problem of KBC being a training ground, and then once journalists have been trained at KBC, they leave to pursue greener pastures. We want to make KBC the greener pasture itself, in itself, the green pasture in itself, so that we don't have a mass exodus of staff to other stations. It takes a lot of time and resources to train journalists, and we don't want a situation where KBC ends up being a training ground for the private sector. We want KBC to be the broadcasting station of choice for all journalists, and we are going to benchmark it with best case examples in other parts of the world to ensure that this is attainable.
Talking of benchmarking, of course, when you look at BBC, when you look at Nigerian Broadcasting Corporation, is ABC South Africa. What we're doing now is that we are actually coming to our viewers live from one of the bureaus in Kisumu. I'm hoping that, of course, this is part of the issues that we'll be looking at in terms of ensuring that we can actually have content being emanating from all corners of the country.
Oh yes, and news or content has to be real time. So we are going to leverage on technology, and one of the things that we are going to do as we revamp the KBC infrastructure is to make sure that all our processes are technology driven. We have got no choice about it, because the only way we can re-engineer our operations is to leverage on technology. So we are going to go that direction, to leverage on technology for purposes of re-engineering our business processes, so that we are in tandem with what is happening in other parts of the world.
Fantastic. Which other plans do you have for this, of course, line institutions like KBC, but more importantly, the ICT that you would want to talk about, probably that you've not had the opportunity to talk about?
You see, the only means that we have as a country the economy is by leveraging on technology. I'm not seeing any other option. I'm not seeing any other option across the board. ICT is not just an enabler of all our thematic areas in the Kenya Kwanza development plan, but also a critical success factor. In agriculture, we have to leverage on ICT to engineer the business processes in agriculture with a view to enhancing efficiency and effectiveness in service delivery. Within the small and medium enterprises, already we are leveraging on the technological platforms, existing technological platforms, to roll out the Hustler the Hustler Fund. We want to strengthen that and go a step further by ensuring that in the not too distant future, we will go into digital entrepreneurship, so that we are able to come up with cheap, smart enabled phones in the Kenyan market at a unit cost of about $40 per unit. Okay, so that the hustlers at the bottom of the economic pyramid are able to utilize smart enabled phones to exploit the massive potential that we have within the digital space. The other thing we are doing is to digitalize government services. We have already taken over the e-citizen platform. It is now a fully fledged government entity. We have embarked already on the process of onboarding other government services on digital platforms. When we took it over about a month ago, we were at 350 government services. As we speak, we are about 800 government services about that platform. It is our envisage that within the next 4 months, we should now be able to have about 5,000 government services about that technological platform. To facilitate optimal uptake of the technology that we are putting or introducing into the marketplace, we are also embarking on a massive digital skills literacy program, targeting members of the public, targeting critical sectors of the Kenyan public service, like the security apparatus, the teaching fraternity, the health services, the Kenya Revenue Authority, and so on and so forth, so that we have got optimal levels of uptake of the technology that we are introducing into the Kenyan space. We also want to go the route of e-commerce, okay? And to facilitate this, we are introducing a national addressing system that would ensure that we have got an appropriate framework through which across the entire value chain, starting from the source of raw materials up to the market, we are able to leverage on coded ICT-enabled means of identifying location of premises, as opposed to the traditional way of doing business where we have got to physically transport goods and services. We are already working on the framework from a policy level that would facilitate this national addressing system. But one thing that we need to know again is that if the government is digitalizing all its services, then there is also no point of having members of the public physically visiting government offices to introduce themselves to get services. So we are also very soon introducing into the Kenyan market a digital identity. We are already benchmarking with various best case examples. Estonia is a good example, Belgium is a good example, Pakistan is a good example, India is a good example, and very soon we will adapt and customize the best case examples to meet our peculiar situation, so that we have got our own technological driven digital identity, so that using that, the government can know whom it is transacting business with from the comfort of wherever they are. The public can transact business with the government from the comfort of wherever they are. Our proposition is that by February next year, February 2024, this digital identity will be in place.
Is it different from what we did a couple of years back, the Huduma number, or is
the idea of Huduma number? I don't want to call it Huduma number because we don't want to carry forward the baggage associated with Huduma number. But looking at it from a conceptual perspective, the idea was that we need to have a digital identity. You can call it any name. I'm not going to call it Huduma number because we are not carrying forward that. But it had its own pitfalls because of the way it was introduced. First of all, the timing was wrong. Huduma number was introduced at a time when we were moving towards the general elections, and people associated with perhaps plans associated with some ulterior motives related to that general election. We are starting this very early. There is no politics involved in this. We are basically thinking of ways and means of enhancing service delivery to the people, that we need technological platforms to identify the people and technological platforms to enable therefore the people to transact business virtually from the comfort of their houses or wherever they are, and consume government services at optimal levels. But anytime you are introducing change, there is need for adequate sensitization. So that will be the starting point. People need to know why we are going the route of digital identity. People need to know how it will affect them. People need to understand the impact and the benefits. Okay? So that is what we are going to do. We are going to have a comprehensive communication strategy around the digital identity concept, so that people own it for purposes of successful implementation.
Fantastic, Wazir. Of course, that is quite comprehensive. And just before we we finish up, I saw you shaking your head to the music that has actually been produced out there.
Yes.
Quite entertaining music, right?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
So you actually put a seal of approval for what is being done here.
Oh, yes,
you can actually
absolutely. Yes, we encourage those with talent to get into the Ajira portal and register so that they can get the opportunity of getting support from the government through the KBC Studio Mashinane to have their music recorded. This is a massive, massive opportunity, and we have got a lot of talent within this creative economy that goes unexploited because of lack of the opportunity to record their music. We also have not just music, we also have a lot of talent in that space of art, and the government again has got a lot of programs around theater and art and the film industry that with a view to exploiting the potential that we have within our youth. Yes.
Thank you very much, Waziri. That is quite comprehensive. That is Waziri Eliud Owalo expounding on to us what exactly his ministry is doing in terms of exploitation of the creative economy in this country, but more so what the plans that the ministry has in terms of ensuring that the service delivery to all Kenyans is actually at the optimum level through ICT. I take it back to you, Wahome, and of course we'll be discussing more with the ICT CS, of course, so that then we can actually package stories for subsequent viewers and listeners in our subsequent bulletin. Back to you, Wahome.
Thank you very much, Achola Simon in Kisumu City, and he was speaking with the Cabinet Secretary for Information Communications and the Digital Economy, the Mheshimiwa Eliud Owalo, and this is about tapping talent and making sure that there are opportunities for you. And remember, Studio Mashinani, based at KBC. Think of Komarok, Langata, Mombasa, Kisumu County. There's one in Gatanga. Then also there's one in Langata here in Nairobi. So if you want to go record your music, come do it, and you will not be charged. That's part of what is going on. And he was inspecting Studio Mashinani, and that took place actually at the Kisumu Studio Mashinani venue. So thank you very much. Chola Simon is going to be packaging our stories for that coming later. It's now time for us to take a break, and when we come back, we shall be talking about what the Americans call football. And the only time they do it is when they're kicking, but the rest of the time they use their hands. So the Americans and their football, what we call football, they call soccer, but we'll be talking about this and the opportunities that are there for American footballers in Kenya after this short break.
Listen up. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Engine.
How do we hear? How do we see? What makes up the air we breathe?
Let's go! Let's go!
It's technology.
Let's go! Let's grow!
Science, you and me.
Let's go! Let's go!
We're learning every day.
Let's go! Let's grow! Let's ask, let's learn, and let's love. And don't forget to make it fun!
3, 2, 1. Jenny.
Talking about work with his dad? What's so urgent?
Jenny?
Oh, you're here.
Did I keep you waiting?
Not at all. I just arrived. Let's go ahead and sit.
Okay.
Jenny?
Since when did you change your name to Jenny?
ilayska ummadda.
No, I don't think you're ready for that one yet.
What happened to not hogging the ball?
Yes, you could hog. I just think you're not ready yet.
Aki baba mwani nikikupata huku. Nikikupata huku wewe, yani unibia mbao yangu, ukamkukunywa. Hiki kibaba ni kila gani? Hiki kibaba wacha nikushike wewe.
Abuda. Kuna noma nini?
Labda tuambie.
Si raha tuna noma. Ara kujitoa tuko najitoa.
So you said you're showing me evidence. I want to see it for myself. Plus the little boys, kwani what are they going to do? Ziggy! Ziggy, please, guys, please stop. Please say yes, someone help us. Ziggy!
Enjoy a selection of the best. Regina Ray and Tingazi.
Bado hujamwambia unamlike. Mrealize hajamwachilia mkono kutoka nikuje hapa.
Love blossoms in Mexico with the trio sisters in Las Bandidas.
I beg you, please don't go.
Want you to be the happiest man in the world with a woman who appreciates and respects you.
An array of music rave.
Make me lie when I don't want to.
Blues.
You are my everything.
Two local gems. And we sit a chat with the Thiambo.
You know, I can't even tell whether you're looking at me, seeing me. With the Louis Vuitton.
Classic comedy.
Makono tu. Say that
again. Enjoy the Divas programming this February only on KBC Channel 1. Kenya's watching.
Help to welcome back to Sports Check on this Monday morning. It is the 20th day of February 2023. Got a conversation about sport after the glorious weekend in the land down under where Kenya finished top of the world. Now, time to move on to another sport where a conversation is happening in Kenya, and I have got to say it's a huge one, and there's a very tight calendar already. Just taking a look at it from what I have, and we're talking American football. Gridiron sport. And in studio to talk about it, I'll go ladies first. On my extreme left, we've got the CEO of the Kenya Federation of American Football, Chizi Ambala. Thank you, Chizi, for making your time this morning.
Thank you for having us.
Yes. And we've got the Vice President of the Federation, Moses Ondeng.
Thank you for having us. Really grateful.
We'll be talking about this shortly, but first, let's talk about last Monday. And all of you are asleep at this time after watching the Super Bowl, but there was this watch party, and at the halftime show, Kenya was mentioned. And I had seen some posters on your socials, and actually some of the videos, and they were mentioning people, especially Kansas City. They were saying, from Kansas, am I main man? I don't know. What was that experience? I'll start with you, Chizi.
The experience of watching
the Super Bowl watch party and Kenya getting a mention.
Okay.
In the halftime show. Yeah. It's not every day you get mentioned.
Yes, it's been a big thing for us. We're really excited about it. We stayed up late to watch the game and we got everybody together. So we're really excited about the direction which American football is going in. Yeah, we hope it's really going to put Kenya at the forefront in terms of sports and in terms of what it can do for tourism as well here in Kenya.
Vice President, how did the whole idea, the NFL deciding that they're going to catch up with Kenya, Nigeria, Ghana. And half the time we all know it's all about that one musical act at halftime.
Yeah. Actually, it was a very good thing for us. We really thought about it. And we thought this was the opportune time, the most opportune time to make some noise about American football, and maybe it will help us even grow the game by people knowing that even in Kenya we have American football. So it was something well organized. We brought our players together, our coaches, referees, and we took them somewhere, and we decided to stay awake the whole night. Actually, we were there until morning rise. There was no sleep at all, and we were very happy about the mention. We thought we were going to be the only country which will not be mentioned, but we are glad we were part of the team which was mentioned. Ivory Coast, Ghana, and other teams in Africa. We were very happy.
All right. So Moses, staying with you, what's the history of this sport coming to Kenya? Because I know some time back, unless you met with an American, they only talk about football. But to us, football is something else. Football yetu ni mpira. But here you have this odd-shaped ball that they keep throwing forward all the time. How did it come into?
Okay, this game came into Kenya around 2012. It was courtesy of some American who decided to give back to the community. Actually used all of his resources, even sold some of his properties so that he can bring the game to Kenya. So he started by starting the game in University of Nairobi. Even managed to sponsor the University of Nairobi team to Dar es Salaam for some East African game with the Tanzanian team. Unfortunately, the Tanzanian team has since died. But that's how it started. And since then, it has grown from University of Nairobi. It moved to Jomo Kenyatta University, United States International University. We're trying to push it, and we have some connections in Multimedia University, Technical University of Mombasa, Masinde Muliro, Maseno, and there are many more universities which are interested, like Dedan Kimathi and Kabianga. So we are soon moving there.
Okay, there seems to be quite some interest with universities. I've seen from the interviews I've done this year so far, there seems to be, what's this conversation, you're having with universities? I know he's a university. Actually, let me speak to you, Moses. You're a university person.
Yes.
What's this thing about universities and picking up any new sport that's coming?
I think it's easier to bring this new sports into the university because for one, I think there are already structures put in place in terms of the directorates of sports in the universities, and most of the guys who have these departments are people who have that background. I mean, they've gone to school, they study sports, and they're like physical education teachers, and their interest is to spread, games or physical activities. So whichever activity which comes on board, they are willing and ready to spread it. So that's why I think most federations are keen on universities. When you look at kabaddi, you look at softball, baseball, they're all running to the universities. And it's, I think that they're using that avenue to spread the game, and it's more faster than using the community clubs, which you need resources.
Yes.
And universities already have resources in terms of facilities. Like, for example, American football, we can use the rugby pitch to start with. So it's easy.
So instead of having the Y-shaped goalpost, you can just use the H for rugby.
Yeah.
Chizi, let me just come to you now. And, for the time, you joined the federation and getting to it. What's been the story of, selling the brand of this sport? Because the NFL is, what did I say? Is at another crazy level.
Yes.
I think that's the best of the best of the best.
Yes.
But, trying to reach out to people here in Kenya.
Well, actually, we're hoping to rebrand the whole sport here in Kenya. As the Kenya Federation of American Football, we're hoping to make an impact on the Kenyan market so that immediately when you see our colors, you see what we're doing, you immediately recognize this is what American football is about. It's about the energy, it's about the spirit, it's about the sportsmanship, it's about the community, it's about teamwork. So when we're rebranding, we're hoping to market it to Kenyans as something that everybody can watch and which you can also engage in. You can watch as a family. Your children can also watch it as well. You can come to the sports. And also, I'm talking about the associated activities around American football. People who can service the game in terms of uniforms, in terms of merchandising, in terms of bringing food to the games, drinks. Anybody can be involved in this game. So it's something which is accessible to all Kenyans. It doesn't really matter your station in life. It's something which is accessible and it is fun and it's lucrative as well.
I mean, for the time that you've worked together, I know last we had the activities going into December and that. What has been the response from the public, and because mainly this is around the unis?
Yes.
What has been the response from the crowd? We are Kenyans, and at times we like imitating the Americans for anything.
Of course. But I think for us, it's not so much that it's about imitating Americans. It's more about the sport itself and the activity of the sport. And people are so enthusiastic about it. They're so excited about it because it's a fast-paced sport and it really engages people in it. And people are really excited about something new and engaging it. So I'm sure that people are willing to be part of the sport. We're just hoping that as we're going throughout this year, we can educate people more about it, about the rules, about how it actually works, and the different positions of the game, so that once you're watching it, you enjoy it more. When you know what's going on, and the fact that it's a sport which it encompasses agility. You can have players who are thin and small in the same team as players who are huge and big like this. It's just a mix of different.
Now, what we see on television is different.
Yes.
We know that there are all those people who play out wide and they are fast.
Yes.
You can be a speed stick of some form.
Yes.
But we've also seen some huge guys in the defense.
Exactly. You can have defensive ends who are big. You can have wide receivers who are fast. You can also have cornerbacks who are
nimble, agile.
Exactly.
That guy needs to be very sharp and powerful.
Exactly that. You're just trying to prevent the touchdown. That's really the basic. Or you're trying to make the touchdown. So trying to get the touchdown. So it's really that interplay between the two different types of players. And trying to come together to get the ball to the end zone.
Okay. Yes. Now, Moses, let me come to you. American football is a very interesting one. Unlike football, soccer.
Yes,
This is where you've got 11 players who are defending and attacking. This sport, you've got the offensive gang and you've got the defensive gang. Just break down that for us, because we see them, switch. Whenever there's a switch of play, we always see these people on the top and then these others.
Yeah. We have a defense team. Composed of about 11 players. We have an attack team, which is also composed of equal number. Then we have a special team. Okay, so actually a complete team of an American football team can be up to a number of 45 or even 55. A complete team.
One full bus.
Yes. So it's a huge investment, and it's very expensive. And we've been trying to, we are planning for some trip, and some people don't understand why do you need all these numbers? It's quite huge and quite expensive. So the problem is it takes some sponsors aback. They say no, that one we can't afford. But that's it. That's how the game is.
It's the nature of the sport.
Yeah.
We'll be coming into those three phases, and my colleague Betty Kiptum is asking, has just sent me a message that she would like to get an American football. She's looked for one and she can't find it. Where does she find one? Betty, your answer is going to be coming your way shortly. But right now, let's play back Cabinet Secretary for Youth Affairs, Sports and the Arts, the Honorable Ababu Namwamba. And today, he was unveiling the World Rally Championship Safari Rally Steering Committee, which he chairs, and the Organizing Committee. And this were the remarks made by Cabinet Secretary Ababu Namwamba earlier today.
The parliamentary committee responsible for sports, dear good people, the sponsors who have supported this event to this date, and the leadership of the rally, I salute you all this morning. This is a very special moment for us, and it's a moment when we are announcing to the country and declaring to the whole world that we are ready. We are ready to host the WRC Safari Rally 2023. And so if anyone has had any doubts, any reservations as to the preparedness by government, we are taking this opportunity to make a very unequivocal, very clear and ambiguous declaration that we are ready for the WRC Safari Rally this year. I want to take this opportunity really to congratulate each one of you that has been given the opportunity to be part of this very special rally for this year, and to tell you that you've not been appointed to either the steering committee or the organizing committee by accident. You have been picked, you have been selected deliberately, intentionally, and on merit. I want to congratulate Mr. Carl Tundo. They also call you Flash. I want to congratulate Mr. Tundo, who will be heading the organizing committee and therefore will carry the responsibility to make sure that all the nuts, all the bolts are in place and that the organizing committee gets this whole process going and you give us a successful rally. Let me say that this year's rally has particular special significance for two reasons. Reason number one is that it's the third continuous edition we are holding since we got back the WRC classification, as Phineas has shared the history of this event. And so it's very important because we are sending a clear message that for the third year running, we are rolling on. Second, and perhaps even more significant, is that this year we are also celebrating the 70th anniversary of the Safari Rally. From 1953 to 2023. It's a very significant milestone. And so, as you get down to commence the preparations of this rally, you should know that you'll also be rolling out a heritage celebration. It will be a special heritage celebration of 70 years of the Safari Rally. Since it kicked off in a rather imperialistic fashion to celebrate the coronation of Queen Elizabeth in 1953, but grew to take on a special significance as part of the heritage fabric of this country. Now, in celebrating this 70th anniversary, we will also be celebrating the 50th anniversary of the WRC itself. And so, last month I was in Monte Carlo for the start of the first of the 13 series of the WRC. And I saw the significance the FIA is attaching to this 50th anniversary. And so we'll be celebrating the 70th of the Safari Rally, but also marking the 50th of the WRC. Our 70th anniversary is also coinciding with the 70th anniversary of the Acropolis rally in Greece. And so I have been in touch with my Greek counterpart, the Minister for Sports in Greece, and we have agreed that we are going to sync our celebrations. So we're going to twin Nairobi and Athens in this process. And the Minister will travel here from Greece. He'll be part of our 70th anniversary. And later in the year, we will also be part of the Acropolis 70th anniversary celebrations. And so there are certain activities we'll be doing jointly, which is also part of celebrating the diplomatic ties between Kenya and the Hellenic Republic of Greece. And so you are not just leading a safari rally, you are also leading a historic moment. You are leading a heritage moment, celebrating 70 whole years of this, and also celebrating a very special relationship between Kenya and Greece. So a lot of things are going to be happening around that space. It would be remiss of me this morning if I did not use this platform to really acknowledge those who have been part of this incredible journey that the Safari Rally is, this incredible heritage. I want to thank the team that worked so hard to get both the WRC and the ARC classification back after many years in the wilderness. So Phineas and your team, you're actually national heroes. I don't know whether you've been given any state commendation or any state honor, because it deserves a state honor for the feat accomplished, to mobilize the support, to mobilize the momentum to get this rally back onto the global stage. I want to thank our retired president, His Excellency Uhuru Kenyatta, under whose leadership the government remained focused and keen to get the Safari Rally back into that international circuit. I've been in government long enough to know that for anything to tick in government, it is a cost that needs.
That is Cabinet Secretary and the Youth Affairs, Sports and the Arts, the Honorable Ababu Namwamba, who was speaking earlier today at the unveiling of the WRC Council. He is chairing the steering committee, and the organizing committee of the event is going to be chaired by five-time Safari Rally winner Carl Tundo. So Dan Mwendwa is our reporter, and he's going to be giving us details of that event. And also happening at the moment is that suspended IEBC Commissioner Irene Masit is appearing before the Justice Muchelule-led tribunal. The venue is at the KICD headquarters in Nairobi. And Masit is represented by lawyer Donald Kipkorir. So let's listen to the proceedings before we continue with our interview.
That the Supreme Court and those sitting in impeachment must be above reproach like Caesar's wife. And we are aware on the day the last witness, my colleague purported or attempted to attack the tribunal or members. And my submission is, as counsels, either lead counsel or counsel for a commissioner, you cannot take advantage of your position and throw unsubstantiated facts to attack integrity or to make allegations of fact which are not substantiated. If my colleague wanted to do those issues, he should have taken the witness stand and presented evidence to support all what he's saying. With the respect, I urge the tribunal to disregard all those submissions or intention to intimidate the tribunal with unsubstantiated facts or who is related to who is on which party. There is no evidence, no affidavit, nothing whatsoever before this tribunal. I urge the tribunal to disregard that argument. As regards incompetence, counsel also seeks to give facts from the bar. Paragraph 149, paragraph 155 of the judgment is very clear in terms of what was the holding of the court. The wise thing would have been for the commissioner to take the witness stand and give the evidence my learned friends seeks to now purport to do in terms of facts. I submit that the issue of incompetence has not been rebutted, and that evidence is not challenged in any way whatsoever. My learned friend also argues that the evidence is hearsay, before presented was hearsay evidence. With respect, Rule 14 of the tribunal rules are clear. The tribunal shall not be bound by strict rules of evidence, but shall be guided by the rules of natural justice. The evidence of Mr. Wafula Chebukati and the evidence of two former commissioners and the evidence of the current CEO of IEBC was primary evidence, not secondary evidence. It cannot be equated as hearsay. They were present, they saw what happened, and they corroborated each other in terms of the allegations that we've presented and before you. They cannot be said to be hearsay evidence. The wise thing would have been for the commissioner to take the witness stand and rebut. She did not rebut any of those evidence of fact, however serious they are, and therefore they were not hearsay, and we submit they are unchallenged. He further submits that the evidence, there was evidence from Yaya and Hotel and Serena, and we also reiterate on this issue, the commissioner did not rebut the evidence on that, on what occurred in those places. Did not rebut the evidence that there was meetings with part of the political players from one political divide, and that evidence was presented. She did not rebut it, and it is our respective submissions that evidence.
My Lord, with tremendous respect, there was no evidence like there was a meeting between her and the people from our side. Evidence was laid to show that the vehicles went in. No evidence was shown that there was a meeting, my Lord.
My Lord, Mr. Chair and members, there is evidence that specific people who are aligned to one political divide, and there's clear evidence on that, went to the rooms where the commissioner and others were staying. She did not rebut that evidence. She did not rebut it. And therefore, that evidence is unchallenged. The Article 81, Roman 5, provides the principles, and those principles are applicable. One is impartiality and neutrality.
So that is the Justice Agrimuchalule-led tribunal, which is and it's suspended IBC Commissioner Irene Masit, who's before the panel, and we shall be going back to the KICD headquarters to listen to the proceedings of that tribunal happening. We continue with our conversation on Sports Check, and it is about American football. This is it. We've got the helmet here, the safety gear. And in studio with us, we've got on my far left, Chizi Ambala, who's the CEO of the Kenya Federation of American Football, and the Vice President is on my immediate left, Moses Ondeng, and he is the Vice President of the Federation. One quick question. Somebody wants someone wants a football. Ako hapa, she's somewhere within this building.
Within this building.
But she's asking where she can get one.
Unfortunately, they're not available locally in the shops. The ones we've been having are donated, or we purchase them from America, then we find a way of bringing them here. But whenever we manage to get a piece or two, maybe we can deliver one.
Okay, yeah. Betty, you'll be sorted. Now, let's move on with this conversation here. We were talking, you said, before we took the break, 55 players in one team. Tell us just...
Actually, a minimum of 35.
A minimum of 35.
Because we have 11 for offense, 11 for defense. Then we have 11 for special team. Then maybe 2 or 3 more to make it a minimum of 35.
Okay.
So each of these teams has a special role.
All right. The role of the offensive team.
The offensive team is to make sure that the ball moves across the field up to the end zone to make a touchdown. And they have to make sure this happens through whatever the rules allow. And the defense team is to make sure that these guys, the attacking team, doesn't manage to get to our end zone to make a touchdown.
Basically, don't even move 10 yards.
Yes. And then the special team are mostly people who specialize in kicking field balls or even punting or some special roles in the game. So they are specialists, sort of. Yeah.
Okay. And now, so you've got that. Some basic other things that we'd like to talk about. It's because we know this sport is not cheap. Let's start with this: the helmet. Just tell us, how it has been set up, such that let me see, it's fully protective, because we know that the contact nature of, American football is a contact sport, but at times, okay, we'll pick that. It can get, real aggressive.
Very, very aggressive. And that's why you see when there's an inside padding.
Yes, you could just project it on.
Yeah, you can see inside of it there's some padding which protects from, especially, when you hit one another, there's the expected vibration or some hard contact. So if this cushioning is not there, then there'll be that contact with the head.
Get concussed.
And concussion, of course, can occur, which is not good, and it's dangerous. Anything can happen after that. So it's very protective in that nature, and you can see all these. Even your face is protected. Yeah, because it is really dangerous. It's really a real tackle. You have watched it.
Yes.
Yeah. So you have to protect yourself, and then we have the shoulder pads, which also is meant to protect your shoulders, and I think that's it.
Then that's it for the protective gear.
Yeah.
And how are you able to bring it here? Because this also has to come stateside.
Like I said before, most of these things are from America. So, like right now, we have a lot of equipment outside there donated. The only problem is ship them here. So, if we can get somebody who can help us ship this equipment, it can be very good for us. And actually, we are appealing to the Ministry of Sports to bring back maybe the duty waiver, but I know it was abused, and that's why maybe it was taken back from sports. But if they can,
I actually know who abused it. I read it from a report about some strange things that happened at JKIA.
So if it can be brought up with maybe new ways of guarding against abuse, then it can be good for most federations, because I know most federations, for example, baseball, softball, these equipments are not locally available. So if this kind of thing can be brought in, then most of these federations will benefit.
Actually, there is a tax waiver that exists in the law. I've forgotten the exact act, but it does exist, and then somebody can help that. Chidi, let me come to you. 2-3 weeks ago, you had some visitors here. Without going into so many details about that trip, just give us an insight, about the NFL tour, and for them to pick Kenya as a place to come and find out and see what's happening with the sport.
Okay. Yes, so a few weeks ago we had some visitors from the NFL. They had reached out to us and they said they were interested to just come and see Kenya, to see the facilities we have, and then to maybe have a chat with us. So we welcomed them here. It was a very good visit, Kenya has got very good facilities, actually. We've got quite comprehensive facilities, and they can actually be modified to be used for American football. So
the facilities where CAF told us we can't host football.
Which?
Where the Confederation of African Football said Kenya is not fit to host.
Yes.
The Americans were happy with them.
I mean, they said that we've actually made quite a lot of progress with the facilities that we have here. They've been updated quite a bit, and they've put in place so many things which are able to assist the players to, engage in the activities on the field. So I think we're really making good progress in that direction. I think if we just keep on that road, we just keep on trying to improve our facilities. If we have the different counties also having their different stadiums, if at least we have even stadiums that are solely dedicated to American football, if we're able to get property which is just solely dedicated to American football, I think it would be a really good thing. We'd really go far, and we'd make Kenya a central place in which not just American football, just sports around the world, they'd be able to come here and take part in activities and sports here in Kenya. I think we're really on the right track, and we just have to be focused on making sure that sports is an activity which is just as important as any other activity in Kenya.
You also met with representatives of the state. What was their response to this?
I think they're enthusiastic about it. Yes, I think we're looking forward to partnering with them in terms of having tournaments here in Kenya. Hopefully in future we'll be able to advertise and let people know that you can come and watch, and we can engage in this sport.
And not at 3 a.m.
No, not at 3 a.m. But we just hope that people can see that it's something that, you can actually become involved in community sports. Instead of engaging in things which are not healthy for you, you can engage in this as a sport which is healthy. The youth can see this as something which they can make their career in life. Even girls, they can take part in flag football, which doesn't involve tackling as well. It's more focused on just taking the flag from the uniform of the other player. And you can develop self-confidence. Exactly. You can develop confidence. Yes, exactly. Yes.
That sounds safe, by the way.
Exactly.
And Kenyans will be very good at it.
Yes, and the girls can be engaged in this activity as a team sport, and you gain leadership skills, team sports, and physical coordination as well. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Moses, just give us a brief of the calendar that we should be looking at.
Okay.
Say for the next 2 or so, 2-3 months.
The next 2-3 months, we plan some local events. We have some tackle events in Nairobi, western part of Kenya, at the coast. We're also looking ahead at April, where we expect to take our national team to Baltimore in the USA for Maryland International Football Tournament. And this will be a great thing for us if we are able to get that sponsorship for the trip, so that the team can be exposed, not really for the first time, because we've gone out before in Uganda, I think twice. But this will be the main thing, going to the land of American football and learning and meeting the legends in the game and all that. And maybe even getting an opportunity of us being noticed by the International Federation of American Football, and even being given points. Being graded, so that when world international tournaments come up, we can be able to be invited. Like especially when we go for the Baltimore tournament, we're expecting to meet some qualifications to the World Championships sometimes next year.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much. This is Moses Deng. He's the Vice President of the Kenya Federation of American Football. And to my far left, the CEO of the Federation, Chizi. Thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you for having us.
And I'm sure when you get around to go to Baltimore, let the players come.
Yep.
Wachezaji wakuje waongee.
Tawaleta.
Shukran sana. Thank you for being with us for the past 2 hours as we had conversations on athletics, celebrating Kenya being top of the table in the land down under, and also American football, plus listening to our CSs, CS Moses Kuria and CS Elido Wallo. Thank you. My name is Daniel Wahome. Time for me to leave. Coming up next is Kurunzi Mashinani with Nancy Okware, and our interview program Tamrini. Thank you for being with us. Have a good day.